Let's talk about expressions. Expressions are used within certain types of statements, and they allow us to test for conditions. We're going to explore while loops and for loops and if-else statements. Let's look at what an expression is. Expressions usually contain parentheses or multiple parentheses to separate different sections of our expressions in complex ways, of course. Now, if we just do a regular test for an if statement here, a regular expression here, x is greater than 1. So we're saying if x is greater than 1, then we're going to set I equal to 2,000. So that's the expression part here. The greater than sign, testing for conditions, your basic algebra type things. It could be very, very complex as well, but it really boils down to algebra. So when you work with your expressions, you're dealing with algebra. So in the for loop, here's our expression, j is greater than 1,000. So as long as j is greater than 1,000, then we can keep this going. But this actually should be less than, because it wouldn't make sense for what we're trying to do. So j starts out as 0, and then as long as j is less than 1,000, then we can continue to do this for loop, and we're going to increment j by 1. So this is our expression. And this while loop has a more complex example. While I is less than 1,000, and, because double ampersand is the and condition here, the and logical test, x is not equal to 0. To test for inequality, we put the exclamation and then the equal sign, not equal to. If we wanted to test for equality, we put the double equal. So we'll see more of these later, of course. So while I is less than 1,000 and x is equal to 0, then we're going to do this. Now, if x is equal to 0 or I is greater than 1,000, then this won't be a true statement because we're dealing with true and false. This works out to be true or false. If it's true, we perform this statement after our if. In the for loop, same thing. If this is true, we can continue. Otherwise, if it's false, we're going to stop. Same thing with the if. If it's false, don't do that. So while this is true and this is true, then we can continue. If one of these is false, we have to stop. So the or works differently, and we'll see this later, like I said. Or is going to be written like this, double pipe. In Visual Basic, you would use and or. But this is how it works in the modern, more complex languages, or. So while this or that, then we can do this. So either one can be true, but they both don't necessarily have to be true. But if they're both false, then this is going to work out to be false. So some logic and some algebra, it works out quite nice. But these are expressions. Expressions can be very complex. We're going to be seeing things throughout the statements that we're going to be working with within this section, if, else, the fors and the whiles, and more as we move forward.